Sara and Adam, you guys both listened in, I assume, to what Chris and Mark were saying. Sara, you advise lots of people in this industry. What are the key takeaways there?
Well, first of all, I just love the reference back to 6 years on Capitol Hill with the Genius Group and talking to lawmakers about PASPA and what it meant to legalize sports betting and how far we've come. I totally appreciate where the NFL is coming down on this and what Chris was saying. And it's been a long journey, obviously. And every day it seems like sports and gaming companies are integrating closer and closer. I mean, there just isn't a whole lot of daylight now that's left between the two entities. And so everything that continues to roll out on a daily basis is super exciting, especially when you've been here since the beginning. You kind of see where we're at right now. So I love that conversation. I thought it was super interesting. And I am impressed at the deal that has been done then between Genius and the NFL, as well as the 3 partners that were named last week.
All right, well, Adam, you and I see each other quite a bit over at the Prudential Center, and that doesn't involve the NFL, but the NBA and the NHL. You're the guy in charge of these deals. What do you look for? How do you evaluate how the companies, the operators, are engaging with the industry?
God, I miss seeing you, buddy. We never had a hard time having your son sit to watch a Devils game, so I look forward to. I'll take the one win and get over the NFL today.
Wait, do you know why you didn't have a hard time?
All the free food and candy.
You know, the hockey had something to do with it, but I got to say the cake pops and the Skittles had a little bit more.
Yeah, my kids are lacking there too. Well, you know, it's amazing what's happened since PASPA was repealed, and to your point of like what we would look for today versus when this started a few years ago. You know, I always point back to my first meeting with Joe Asher at William Hill, and he said, you know, we have 1% brand recognition in the state of New Jersey. People think that we're a financial institution, and then you had the others. You know, we had been partners with DraftKings for a long time. Sorry, I don't know if you hear that. We've been partners with DraftKings for a long time in Philadelphia. So that was just a natural fit as we had helped to build their platform collectively to do sports betting with them around the 76ers. But I think New Jersey was this amazing opportunity with Chris referenced was it just opened up and it opened up the floodgates. And the question was, how can you deliver value for all of these partners? That was candidly the challenge that we were taking on. You know, our philosophy in partnerships is in a perfect world, you find one partner like Genius and the NFL, and you put all your eggs behind that basket. And that's just because of the makeup of the financial, you know, the state by state financials. Like it doesn't warrant it. It's a 5% margin business. So these operators, they don't have 7 figures to just throw out at you. So for us, it was, how do we introduce some of these brands to our fan base? How do we help build trust? Because again, as people get into sports betting, understanding that this is something that's fun and about fan engagement. And then how do we deliver clear lanes for each of our partners to make sure that the fan base and how they want to engage them, that we can do that and ultimately get our fans playing on their platforms.
Eben, are you working again? Nope. No go for Eben. This has got to be killing him because we all know how much he loves to talk. Sara, take me into some of the data. What do teams need to know? What do leagues need to know? What do operators need to know? Because everybody loves their data these days.
Yeah, I think look, there's a lot of interesting components to data. I think the way that it is probably most relevant when it comes to leagues is the distribution then to the sports betting operators and how that can be sliced and diced, and also then in a way that you can do real time in play proposition betting. So like I see leagues that are nascent that have never entered into the sports betting space, but are interested in doing that. And they want a roadmap as to how to do that. And typically you do have to partner with a data distributor like a Genius or Radar or IMG Arena, who will then go out and sell that data for betting purposes to sportsbook operators around the world or domestically. There are going to be advancements as to how that data is being used for betting purposes. Like I said, I think that the brass ring at the end of this is to try to get in-play proposition betting happening. And that's going to have to happen in real time. And there's going to have to be no latency issues. I think what IMG Arena has done with the PGA Tour is another really interesting example of how data is being leveraged. So IMG Arena purchased the rights to the PGA Tour's data. They have now built a product that can be integrated into a sportsbook operator's platform that allows you then to do in-play proposition betting while matches are being played. So really interesting advancements then in how data is being leveraged for betting purposes.
Adam, take me behind the scenes of your conversations with the operators. What do they need to know? What do you need to know? How do those deals come about? And what's the conversation like?
The conversations around differentiation, right? Because we have in both properties and with the Devils and the Prudential Center and the Philadelphia 76ers, we have multiples. So the question is, how am I going to differentiate? And how are we going to get your fans playing on my platform?
That was my next question then, since you brought it up. If I was a bettor, and I don't, but if I was, I would think I'd be platform agnostic. I'd look around, say if there are any different odds. What is the difference? Why should I go to one? And I'm not going to name them. I know you have your partners, but why one and not the other? How are you helping to make that differentiation happen?
Well, I think on your first part, like when we looked into this, when PASPA was getting repealed and Crystal Palace is part of our portfolio, and we were doing a lot of research across the pond.
Advantage Harris Blitzer.
Yeah, well, but Scott, to your point, it's a really mature market. So there, people are playing, on average, they have 3 different accounts, and they're looking to play who's giving me the best odds. The U.S. is still learning along the way, and they're still stepping into it. So they might be playing just on DraftKings, or they might be playing just on on Caesars and William Hill. For us, I think what we're trying to do is introduce new brands. BetMGM is a great example of a 76ers partner with us. We're trying to introduce brands to our fans and then help to shape differentiation of why you'd want to go play within the boundaries of what we're allowed to do with the leagues. A really interesting partnership that you have Layla coming up in a couple sessions with PlayUp. We announced PlayUp this year in New Jersey. They're not yet live in New Jersey. I think what we're trying to do with Layla is to help to build and introduce the brand of PlayUp to the Devils fan base. But PlayUp was really interesting to us because they were the #1 fantasy operator in Australia. So think about who's come out of the gate and won in the U.S. It's DraftKings and FanDuel, right? Because they were able to build an audience and continue to be able to build an audience before gaming goes live in these states. So I think ultimately it's about introduction and then helping our fans understand the differentiation so that they'll go to those sites to play.
Yeah, teams like yours in New Jersey Transit were the recipients of their their marketing largesse, I'll call it. That's the easy way to go about it. Sarah, we have a smart audience, but I bet there's still a whole bunch they don't understand about sports betting. What do they need to know that perhaps they don't know?
It's a good question. It's funny. I was just on with another client, and we were talking about, just all the emerging markets that are opening up right now. And you take a market like New Jersey and the partnerships that Adam's had.
Yes.
And
Hello.
we can hear you.
We can hear you now, Eben. So
We can see you, but
hang on a moment. Go ahead, Sarah.
No. So I think, look, the bottom line is you don't have to have it all figured out, right? It's just a good key life lesson anyway. We don't all have to have it figured out right now. But I think what's been really interesting is to start these partnerships and work with operators and adjust along the way and see what's happening, what's working. I keep going in and out. I don't know if this is happening to people on the other side of this.
It's okay. We got you. We can hear you.
It's like a TikTok video. So I think that, look, I think as this progresses, we're going to see what works, what doesn't work. We're going to pivot. We're going to fine tune it. I mean, even just this year, I think there's been so many new ideas. For example, and this started off with Monumental, right? Having a sports book at the arena, as well as then some limited mobile around the arena in DC. And William Hill is their partner, and they've gotten up and running, and I think it's been gangbusters. Fast forward then 2 years later to Arizona, the state of Arizona, that just enacted legislation that enables now teams to partner with sportsbook operators for a retail location as well as then statewide mobile. So first state that we've seen this happen, great synergies between a sportsbook operator and then a team, just a new integration that I don't think any of us had thought about, 3 years ago when PASPA was struck down. So look, it's going to continue to evolve. As you said, you've got a smart audience here who's paying attention to what's happening. I don't have it all figured out. I don't think any of us do. But I do think that what we're seeing is further and further integration of those properties. And again, trying to achieve the ultimate goal, which is what Chris was talking about in the earlier session, which is fan engagement from the team and league and media perspective, and then obviously consumer engagement from the operator side. So a lot of shared goals that I think that, again, we'll start to see, again, more and more coming together and more integrations.
So I'm going to hop in here because I'm really glad, Sarah, that you mentioned Arizona there. Adam, when you look at the law in Arizona, the Phoenix Suns, the Coyotes are able to sign market access deals, as Sarah just said. They're able to have sports books in their arena. Those are two things that you're not allowed to do because your teams are obviously in different states. Does that create an unfair advantage how do you think about the fact that there are some teams in the NHL and NBA that are able to do these types of deals in sports betting just because the legislators built the law that way, and then there are other teams that are not allowed to?
Unfair advantage, not at all. It's the Taj Mahal. It was great that Jersey and PA were out first, but I guess if I could dream it up all over again, maybe we would go backwards, because I think having the books is an amazing opportunity. If you think about, for my business, it's about putting thousands of people in a venue where everyone's cheering for, an outcome, whether that's tonight's Sixers-Suns game, hopefully a lot more people cheering for the Sixers than the Suns. I think that if you look at arenas, we have 100 to 150 dark dates a year, and people don't come to our venues unless there's a reason to come. And having the books, which is not only a great revenue opportunity for the teams, I think it brings people down to your venue. So now you have this next iteration, right? Like, I could see you're going to Phoenix Suns Arena to watch the first round of the NCAA tournament because they have it on the center hung in their bowl and they have 15,000 people in there. I love it. Candidly, I'm jealous. And for any legislator that is listening, on behalf of the teams, keep doing that. It's good stuff. And
you get some high margin food and beverage too, right, Adam?
Well, I mean, it's more value. Think about your suite holders. It's more value for everybody, quite frankly. And I think the reason sportsbooks are so successful, look at the success of the Meadowlands, is people want to congregate together and have a vested interest in the entertainment that they're seeing. And now you have an opportunity to put 15, 20,000 people in a bowl and do that. It's amazing.
So how do you capitalize on that in Newark when you can't have the sportsbook directly in your venue, but you can have people gambling on their phones, and you can theoretically open the venue up for an English Premier League game or a UFC fight if you wanted to?
Yeah, I mean, that's the next wave for us. I mean, that's what we're looking at. That's what we're looking at doing. I mean, fortunately, in the Prudential Center, the only thing you don't have is a cash teller, right? So you can bet mobily on your phone. You have the opportunity. We have a lounge in the concourse. It's set up exactly like a book, so it's everything that you would want to see in getting the odds. And that's the next wave for us. That's what we're talking about doing, is starting to bring more and more people into events that are non-Devils events to watch and engage and enjoy and hopefully win some money.
All right, Eben here. I don't like things to go by chance. We have to get to the next panel. I'm sorry, Eben, you came in at the last minute. But Adam,
that shirt?
Yeah, so wait, he's not wearing a Lightning shirt. He's not. What a day for that. We have to know, what's your favorite part of going to Prudential Center? We had an argument. What do you think? What's the favorite part of being at Prudential Center? Besides the food. There it is. Out he goes. We got the answer. It was the food. Thank you very much, Adam, Sarah. Thanks so much for joining us.